WarsawJS.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage our next two speakers, Maria and Ahmad. Please, welcome. Let's check to make sure your microphones are working.
Hello.
Nice to meet you. My pleasure, finally. I mean, wow, what a CV. My pleasure, my pleasure.
Thank you, everybody, for not standing up and getting out when, listening to all the intros. We are, I believe, two interesting individuals who would love to get to know more about yourself that you will see in a second.
Yeah, I mean, you know what they say? They say usually, like, don't go to the room that you're the smartest person. That's why we're here. So it's just like, if any of you guys know how much we can code, and now we're in the WarsawJS, so it's just like, yes, that's going to be a good part.
The smartest person, I think we're on the safe side, right? We'll have plenty to learn from you guys. So thanks for having us. Let's sit down.
Would you like to maybe have a seat?
Welcome.
I think the MC just did a very good job introducing us. So if you guys really would like to know something more, maybe you just put the 30 seconds.
Yes. More introduction. I think. Hi, I'm Maria. I haven't learned to code yet. Maybe one day I will. And I am full aware of the importance of the matter. I'm an observer and participant of the ecosystem here in Poland and in Europe. For Google, I am associated with the Google for Startups mentorship program, and I think the rest was said. I'm also a researcher, soon defending my thesis.
And a mother.
And what?
And a mother. Come on.
Yes, I have 2 boys, 2 startups with endless rounds of financing, and probably that will never be, no perspective for investors, I imagine. There's a seed investor, and I think that's it.
So, yeah. I mean, full disclosure, I have a mastery in IT. I'm a hardware engineer. But one thing I learned that maybe I was not really cut for that part. So I literally failed my first startup. And then I really understood maybe I have to go a little bit more into soft skills. So I did a bit of a study in marketing and economy and sociology. And then later, something around 11, 12 years ago, I came to Poland. And if I will count how many times people ask me why Poland, that's a whole different channel that we can try to have a 2-hour conversation about that. I started basically promoting startups around 2011 here. And how many of you guys were doing something around startups in 2010, 11? Nice. That's exactly all of you that came to my events. It's just like, and easily, because in the beginning there were like 10 people would come over and they think it's either multi-level marketing or like I'm selling something. And I'm so happy just to see such interesting crowds just coming over here. So we technically have this, let's just call it an intro, just to tell you that we just want to see this kind of let's just call it a clash between the world of entrepreneurs and the world of programmers. How much do they have overlap, and how much, let's just say, you can try to basically even see if you can jump from one world to the other.
So let's start with, guys, reveal yourselves. Who is a programmer here? Raise your hand. Okay. Who's an entrepreneur? Okay. Who's a...
No, I just like that entrepreneurs are like this and programmers are like that.
Are there any entrepreneurs who want to be converted into programmers?
Don't be afraid.
And the other way around, any programmers who are thinking, excellent, we have one person.
Yeah.
3.
I think all of you guys listen to this GPT presentation, right? It's just like... That's also true. Yeah.
I don't think it's working anyway. It's at no capacity.
So let's just start with this one, because if you see, even the ratio tells a lot. So I was just partially joking. I was just saying, if you guys ever saw this kind of like religious debates, like they bring, I don't know, like atheism and Christianity. And I was like, I just want to see by the end of this conversation, how many of you are going to change your language or your religion? So we just want to basically see both parts, as long as half an hour is going to really help, that you're going to just change the rest of your life with this. And then we will just see where we can go from here. like a year ago. That was a conversation we were just having together. I was supposed to hire a guy that I'm not going to say from which company because it's kind of connected to here, so I'm not going to say that. He was trying to change his job, and he was getting something around like 28,000, 30,000, and good salary, maybe. And I was just like, okay, so maybe I can give like 10% more, and then you can start working for me. And then like 2 weeks later, he just came back and was like, I changed my mind because I found a job for 100,000. I was just like...
So are you implying it's the dream job to be a programmer? Are there
That's
only
exactly
upsides?
the point. Yeah, it's just like, money is everything, you know, it's the first thing. And then another thing, you're an entrepreneur, you know, you have all the status and everything, and you say it's like, oh my God, I'm never going to get that much money in on my salary, right?
I mean, it's a different business model, right? In your head, right? The price, if it's ever coming, it's far ahead in the future. So it's different when it comes to your payment and your salary, right? You, as an entrepreneur, you don't really think about your salary. You're more into, the creating something bigger and maybe getting having it bought by someone really wealthy. But yeah, when we would like really to have some of your insights. Like when you think, who really runs the show? That's our question. Like in the company, is it the CEO who has all the, who has the title, who has the power, or is it actually the programmers, the programming team, the head of programming who really holds the strings?
Is there any courageous...
Thanks. So I think the customer run the company. Because
Oh my
like,
God.
you
I didn't know we
cannot-
have philosophers. Piotr is the only philosopher in the room, but but seriously, these days, how many of you guys are full stack? And keep your hands
I'm
up if you
scared.
don't mind. How many of you would like to change your job? You see, that's my point. Like, if you really want to start your job, I don't know any money that I can give to a full stack developer to be able to join my idea. So I don't think the client nor the idea these days matter. Like, when you talk to full stack developers, you really feel like you're talking to Jesus. I don't know. It's just like, and I was like, do you want anything? And I was like, I'm good. Like, how about salary? And I was like...
Answer your question, I think there are two stages. At first, before companies making enough money, programmers are ruling. So that's why you are highly dependent on programmers. But once you have this equilibrium point where you are earning enough to stay sustainable and not worry about your upcoming future, then actually the CEO has to have the idea for the company. So if somebody thinks otherwise, I would be happy.
Response. I have a response for everything, however.
Sure. There is this gentleman also in the back that he is very enthusiastic about it. So I just... Oh, perfect.
I think that at some big companies, actually the HR departments may be ruling, since they decide who the company hires, so they select what the company becomes.
That's also at the further stage, right? I think most of the startups I've known, they have this HR debt before there's a HR department in the company. There's much happening in it before. But when we're talking about the programmers who are really holding the power, there are also great programmers who created companies, right? Who started coding and decided to create completely new programs. We have Bill Gates, we have Zuck, we have who else was there?
John
Carmack. Yeah, we have
the list goes on and on. It's just I just wanted to put it into the context of, I think we're also just going a bit into the IT sector, because I also have a feeling that I just met one of the guys in the startup ecosystem that he just left his job and started making customized pens. You know what I mean? Like, we also have that kind of, let's just say people that they just go extra miles out of that. But one thing that I see on and on when coders either become entrepreneurs or do this kind of stuff is just say that because I don't want to have a boss. That's one of those things about entrepreneurship that I genuinely think is a massive myth.
Exactly. Entrepreneurs do have bosses.
When was the last time you managed to go home at 5, 6?
Well, I mean, I have other bosses at home, but so that there's a clash. But basically, yeah, there are
Trust
extra
me,
hours.
I just have 2 plants at home, but it doesn't really change the fact.
Okay.
Here, mic is here. So, a bit back to the question of who's more important, the CEO or the customer, or actually the entrepreneur. Who is the most? Yeah, I heard some blockchain in the room, so we might be able to bring in the word DAO. Maybe this might be the new solution for the new answer for the question: who's the most important? CEO, employee, customer. Thank you.
I mean, that's definitely a valid point. I mean, decentralization is the factor, but I don't think it undermines the human factor part of that, because that is something that I don't think even an AI would be able to do that unless we're just basically just being kind of wiped by, by the GPT-4. And then after that, all of us are just gonna, find another planet. We have somebody here also.
I just think the person with the vision is the one who has the most power.
Person with the vision.
Absolutely.
Some people say that execution is vision for breakfast, so probably
Well,
the programmers.
Well, on the topic of joining startups, I think as a established developer or programmer, I don't really want to search for another job in 2 months when the startup is died. I guess this is one of the big issues.
Maybe we can also quickly have a chat about the motivation.
Wait, there's a question.
Actually, I wanted to refer to motivation. I think you said so. The 100K salary you've mentioned before is, I think, highly dependent.
Too low?
Yeah, no. I think it's highly dependent upon demand, and we can refer to this NFT boom that was like a year ago at very top levels of popularity. You could see plenty of job offers for smart contract developers. They were like really, really top salaries, and the market decreased 97%. And I think we could take a look now, but I think the number of those offers is very low. The point I'm trying to make is you should really filter it through your values. If you want to get a quick cash and quick money, that's a cool idea, but take a look at longer perspective, and you may lose this job very, very quickly, right?
And do you find it possible to always stick to your values and with your I'm just asking, is the market so comfortable and the programmers are so much in demand that you can really choose your destiny?
We are in this comfortable position where actually we can, even though if we bet on some technology, it's still possible,
And before you Ahmed, will start the motivation topic, I wanted to ask something. I'll mix things up a little bit. So if I read recently a research saying that there's a high percentage of programmers, there's about 50-60% of programmers that feel burnt out. So if everything is so good, why it is so bad?
Yes.
Whoa.
I think there might be many reasons for that. One, I think, will be that many people who shouldn't become programmers in the first place are becoming programmers despite having no passion, no qualifications, nothing, and they just feel that it's not for them after some time.
That's another very interesting point. I like it. It's but on the other hand, everybody hears, hey, if you want to keep your job within 10 years, you have to learn the basics of language X and Y, right? Like people are massively outside of the industry are massively encouraged to change their careers. Yeah. Challenge it, please.
I think that this is a big mistake when we are trying to drag people into this place that don't even really want to be in this place. And also, there is one aspect to being a programmer is that you like learning new things, you like exploring, And this might be why programmers might be more comfortable because they know that if they lose one job with one tech, they will be able to learn another tech. And I don't think that's like a lot of people. I think that there are many people who don't like to learn new things or don't like to learn new things that much.
I mean,
Do you think there's hope for them at all? Like outside of in this programming industry, like if you don't like learning new things, you probably be stuck in the old useless career anyway.
Can you accept a comment or a question from a person like myself?
Okay, okay.
I speak with a lot of programmers and developers every single day on many different topics, and I have noticed that many people are in this for the money. In other words, they realize that they can earn lots and lots of money because there's a plenty of jobs and everyone needs a good developer these days. And so my question is the quality of your work as important as the amount of money that you can earn? In other words, it's easy to give up on a project and move on to the next for the next salary. And then I feel that maybe this is a result of like the quality of, the standard falling for everyone, if that is the case.
Mhm.
I mean, I exactly agree with you. Like I run, let's just say 40, 50 people of developers. And one of the things, especially when you see you're switching job, the money is good. It's just you see that. And another thing is also is Poland, because like if you're in Switzerland, you cannot work more than 100%. You can get two jobs. You can get like a 60% job and a 40% job. And you guys are very good with math, right? So that's 100%. But here it's just like, so what do you do? And I was like, yeah, I have two full-time jobs, but I'm still available on the weekends. And I was like, how do you do that? And I was like, but don't worry about it. I still have like Tuesdays if you really want me to do some coding for you, right?
But it's the same actually with every career. Like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, we had a boom with startups and people who really didn't have the calling of an entrepreneur and were not prepared to, fall down all the time and then fail and fail again. Those people were getting into the entrepreneurship, right? That field. And that's a disaster too. So that's a rule of thumb.
I mean, entrepreneurship had this amazing, let's just say, TechCrunch effect. That's what literally they call it. And they just basically say out of 10 startups, one of them just succeed. And they will only focus on that 1%. And that 1% also, you only see them at the top of the mountain. You would not really see all the troubles that they had on the downside. They don't talk about the depression. They don't talk about all the struggles that you have just to go on the top. That's why people that are on the bottom, and I was like, oh my God, that guy got $100 million. Like, I'm just going to talk about it. And I was like, but you didn't talk about those 9 people that they did not have anything, nor at the same time, let's just say, I mean, like even Piotr, like he's a full stack developer, like he could do whatever he wants, but he's also running a company. So you have this complex. Should I just sit down and do my coding by myself, or should I have to go out and then try to build a business? Can we just have also one of the opinions of people who just basically are both entrepreneurs and the programmers, just to see how they would see this? They just call it the conflicts or these differences. Somebody?
Any entrepreneurs in the room? Oh, here we go.
We have some allies in the back.
10 years ago, yes, in 2011, okay.
Can you repeat the question? What was that?
I like it.
I forgot.
Just want to clarify, just to make sure. I'm just saying there is this difference between the fact of just sitting down, getting your salary and just being totally safe, or try to basically do the venture, like just really risk all of those things and then try to see what's going to be on the top of the mountain and with all the troubles you have.
So for me, it's like I'm actually this guy who is too stupid to go to work and make money and have a family and everything. I was actually really, really interested into solving a problem. And I actually don't recommend it, I'll be honest with you. And that's because it's just too stressful. And when you go and have a money and you can basically let go of this need of, oh, I want to be rich. I want to be seen like on a TechCrunch or whatever. This is like BS. It's not going to make you happy. But you go into this venture so far that you don't want to, you want to finish it. You want to see some resolve. So I think it's really just a chance. Like you just find yourself in this situation, and yeah.
When you say result, do you mean financially or personally? Yeah.
What's my motivation?
Result.
At the microphone, maybe.
The result is to see the vision, pan out. You know, this you see it resolve.
Vision.
Can I also
That's
maybe
what I
do
think too.
something else? It's kind of an exercise. We can go back to the previous question. How many of you guys have your boss right now in the room? Just raise your hand. So, okay, good. So you guys don't answer this question, okay? It's just for the others. How many of you think that your boss is stupid? Just raise your hand. Because I genuinely think a lot of people that they are programmers and they want to be entrepreneurs, that's their problem.
Let's give them a chance to elaborate on this. Anybody who wants to elaborate on this? I'm really curious.
Oh my God, look at this.
Please no
How many
pictures
people are fired right now? Just
You called me. You know, it's funny because we already broke the ice with this subject. So even if you're a boss, you don't have to be really the most clever in the room. However, I wanted to answer your question because as you said, I'm both a full stack developer and later I opened Xfang. So because of that. I have this perspective. How it's different, you know. But when you had actually a very good salary and a base for your comfort, for your economical comfort, it was a much easier decision for me to open a company. So it's a natural step forward after some time, and and that's what I think. And with regarding to being clever and smart, it's you know it's I think it's some kind of maturity issue because when you understand the
Complexity.
variety of complexity of a business, I'm absolutely aware that 90% of my decisions are stupid, and I tell them, yeah, they were stupid. However, I need to have a faster feedback loop to learn, and the company needs it, and everyone who's sharing and doing, you know, making the decision happen also takes then the responsibility for it. So they're helping me, and the whole company works more organically when you actually make the mistake and when you're stupid. So maybe it's good for a boss to be stupid, actually.
Can I ask also maybe?
Or at least have this attitude of admitting that sometimes you make mistakes and you're not, you know, and know it all, right?
I'm going to ask another question. And this is a very hard one. And by the way, you have a cheat sheet because there is already an answer to that. If you don't mind, I will get back to that. We're half an hour and we're just going to change everybody's course of life forever. So, be ready. So guys, this is a complicated one. How many of you think 2 + 2 = 4? You see, all of you that did not raise your hand, you're the people that you're good entrepreneurs. That's the test. Like I've lived both lives, As an engineer, 2 + 2 = 4. And if somebody says no, you stand up and I was like, how dare you? Let me explain it to you. But you see how Piotr explained. I still don't know if exactly what he said is entrepreneurship is good or is bad. He's a good entrepreneur, Entrepreneurs are living the shadow,
No, it's the question to an accountant, I think. The accountants, they're never sure. And how much is it supposed to be? You tell me.
It depends, right?
Guys, does it mean Jean-Claude Van Damme is a great entrepreneur? Because according to Van Damme, I don't know if you know who is Van Damme.
Van Damme.
Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Yes.
Yeah, we've heard.
I don't know him personally, but...
Because according to Van Damme, 1 + 1 is not 2, but maybe 11. So
this is what my 3-year-old son thinks, actually.
I just want to smoke what he is smoking, but...
Okay.
Do you have a question?
I'm hurrying to you, Artur.
Thank you. So I want to give my thoughts on the fact of who's starting your company when you are safe. So I think there is this magic factor of 40 people in a company, and this is the most important thing, because once you pass there, I know company owners, especially software house owners. And also I have a question to you, Maria, but later after this, maybe next question. And I think
maybe after the program.
Yeah, maybe after maybe after the program. But I think this is like this is 40 people. This is the number of 40 people, because this is, for me, this is the threshold like this is also from financial perspective, but for me 40 people is like, if you are an expert and you really are performant in this what you are doing, then 40 people is a group of people that you can replace, especially if they are like not experienced. But once you pass, for me, once you pass this 40 people, then you must be crazy, and this implies that you need to be stupid to some extent to risk your safety. You are, once you hire the 31st person, you are already risking your safety, because you won't be able to replace all of your obligations, financial, like you start to rely on your people. You can't get rid of them. You can't, if they all quit, you are gone. So I think this is the stupidity, but in order to achieve great goals, we have to have people who are risking, because the smartest people on earth aren't doing programming, they are receiving Nobel Prizes, and we don't have any Nobel Prize receivers here. So I think this is great.
First, ask the question. Don't get assumptions. But
so this is 40 people, and if somebody is really
you get the question?
So
Was it a statement or a question?
So the statement is that this is 40 people.
So this was the statement part, because you said you have a question.
Just saying he was sharing thoughts.
So I would say that Piotr isn't that stupid in the end, because so far...
Oh, I never said that. I mean, how dare you? Like,
because so far, he didn't pass...
Where did you get that part of that? Are you guys plotting against me?
It's
or
a special day. Maybe you should vote. What do you think about it?
No.
The scale of 1 to 10.
So my answer is that as long
I think,
as
Piotr, I'm going to walk back home.
as long as you are safe in your skills and earning money as a full stack developer, let's say, then as long as you don't have more than 40 employees, you are safe, because you are self-sustainable.
So I'm thinking, there's the thought coming. So are developers risk averse? Are there people who are not eager to take risks, discover, follow their visions? Are people like you? Tell me more about yourself. Are you then people who prefer safety over the adventure?
How many prefer safety?
Come on, be honest. Come on,
How many
really?
people prefer, I want the thing that's guaranteed, in the bank. Yeah. How many people are risk takers in the room? How many really risk takers? Come on, raise them high. Be proud. Do it with your chest. Okay, those are your entrepreneurs.
Okay.
I'm listening.
But one of the healthy checks that I also do, how many of you guys can raise your hand? You see, like, that's my problem. You see, like, then you get the failure rate in the middle, it's just like, they don't want to answer. It's just like, it's like, my hand is really hurting.
That's the safe approach.
They're afraid of the risk, and then raising the hand.
Look, all of those people who didn't raise hands, they are looking for safety.
They're risk averse. But we're not judging. We're not judging here. It's like some people are risk averse, others are.
No, because one thing else that we also have in common is also the fact of being mentor. And one of the factors that you always have to have is this common language with people. Like if you never did programming, and if you really want to give advice to a programmer, that's always the hardest part. And frankly speaking, I mean, I'm a hardware engineer. That's why I always learned programming just enough just to be able to communicate with the hardware. So I was never really, let's just call myself like a hardcore programmer. But now I just feel that I would understand a bit. Like that example I really like, it was like, you create a code with AI with like 2 hours, and then it takes you 24 hours to debug it. I understand that part. I don't know how to do that, but at least I can translate those parts. That's also something that maybe, because we're almost in the end of our time, and I just don't want the PH to, we already called him stupid apparently. I just don't want to also over time, put past our time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh, that's it? Oh, sorry. Well, as a full stack developer, like I'm looking forward for I have a smart boss, so I don't complain. But at the same time, I have ChatGPT now, and it's this is why I'm looking forward now. So I can still work for my boss, but still in the near future, hopefully, this will give me much more time, so I can actually implement my ideas and at the same time still working for my smart boss. So I'm just giving some hope for those people who are like kind of thinking, should I quit or not? I would say, okay, you are like a full stack developer, high in demand. You can negotiate the time you are working. So 4 hours, for example, for your like boss, and other 4 hours for you, and this kind of win-win. So just want to share this idea. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
You're inspiring so many questions that I ask every day. I mean, in other words, is your job just a job, or is your work something that you stand behind, that represents you? I mean, for me, there's a huge difference between a job and my work. I do plenty of different types of work, and to be honest, I don't consider any of them jobs. So this is just me. I wonder, how many people consider their work a job? How many people really love what they do and their work is their work? So what's up with the rest of you? Which is it? Make it. You can't decide. Sometimes
The arm's
just,
really hard.
Sometimes it's just
so
a
it's
job, and sometimes it really is something that you stand behind and you believe in. I guess that's what they mean. I'm not sure.
Let me just ask a different question, if you don't mind, because that's also kind of, it goes in the same smooth way. How many of you guys, if you would have like a basic salary, you would just quit? Just you get your money, just basic income, universal income, and then you will just don't need to work. You all stay at your work? Nobody will quit?
Who would quit?
There are too many opportunities
two
out there.
people.
Please elaborate. Like, give them the microphone.
Who is it? Who is that? Who was that? No, keep it up there. Keep it up. Don't hide now. You said you would quit if you were guaranteed. Quit doing what? Quit what?
How many of you guys know Mr. Beast also? Nobody? Oh my God, you guys don't watch YouTube.
All right, so it's going to be tricky. So it was the opposite, right? Would I leave if I got the basic income, right?
Yeah.
I would certainly leave.
Okay. So, but why?
You know, there are so many opportunities, right? We as a people are quite smart. We are not limited to doing one thing, right? Programming is just one thing, but if I would like to be, I could be even a pilot, wherever, right? It just takes some learning, different path. And yeah, you want to do things that give you some solid, you know, feedback, like earnings and stuff like this, that shows your work is appreciated and really valued, right? So that would be it for me.
So we've heard just the first downside of, you know, an optional downside, because I believe it's not that every case.
Actually, there is a program in Germany running in testing whether everyone should get his base salary and just quit working for the rest of his life. In Switzerland, this mic is weird. In Switzerland, it's already applied, so people tried it out and they actually went to work. So because eventually you need work as a human being, I guess. I have a question regarding to something else. I've been hit by many people asking me to develop their next unicorn company, and the question is there a formula how to divide the company between an entrepreneur who has the money and the one who has the brain cells to do the job that the other one cannot do?
Brain cells.
If you find someone with brain and money, then that's a unicorn.
There's no magic formula for that. Is that the answer?
No, but for the this universal basic income, there was a research, I think, first in Finland, and it was for the unemployed people, and apparently most of them found a job afterwards, because what it takes from you, it doesn't take from you the passion to work, apparently, because then you start thinking of what you do as a work, or mission or career rather than a job. But it's you know, takes away all the worries. So how am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to feed my children? So those worries are gone, and you can really focus to find a proper job. You don't settle for like first thing that comes, so you can, you know, pay your rent at the end of the month. So it's actually, I don't know, it's the magic of this UBI, but it's just logical, right? You don't take a first thing that comes, so you start wondering what you want to do, and you take something that comes maybe third or fourth.
Totally true. Okay. But if you don't mind, because there's a definition of unicorn that is also a problem, because I really like that most of you guys, at least on the surface right now, we're agreeing that we're all just doing what we love. and we're very altruistic, and I think all of us are going to go to heaven, and all of those things on the side. But one of the things I really like about the definition of unicorn, they say unicorn is a startup that touches 1 billion people's lives. Because like when we keep talking about money, and I was like, oh, I don't want money, but I was like, I want to build the next unicorn. And I was like, but why do you care if your company makes $1 billion when all you really want to do is not really something that, let's just say, you are trying to get money out of that, right?
You just make covers. That's why, like, your face is everywhere. I think it's more the ego thing than money thing. Like sometimes it's both.
That's such an important thing. Guys, I know that this is not a question that I can ask, and I'm just going to have an honest answer out of that. But how many of you guys are doing what you do because you want to look cool? Because you know what I mean? Even if you raise your hand, you see, that's honesty. That's honesty. That's something that you have to say, you know what? I don't care what other people think about me. I do what I love. I do that when I go back home, I just feel like, you know what? I am proud of myself. I don't care what other people think I am. I'm not going to just say that I'm going to work for that brand of that company because that's the perfect things to do. I just do what is meaningful to me. And I see a lot of people just go back home and I was like, Mom, you know what I'm doing? And then my mom goes out and I was like, you know what? I finally managed to make my mom happy, you know? But I was like, are you happy deep down, you know? And it was like, I have 2 houses and I made 3 unicorns. And then after that, you come back home and it was like, I'm miserable, but I'm just going to wipe my face happy because I'm going to go back tomorrow. And I just want to make sure everybody thinks I'm the most successful person in the world. Just talk to people. Elon Musk literally at some point a few weeks ago, literally just said that Twitter was about the fact that he was really feeling that his life is empty and he wanted to add something more to that. Like you can be the richest man on earth and still just literally just have the worst loss in the universe ever just because you feel empty. And that's the thing that you can go from the bottom. Forget about even joining a company who wants to build the next unicorn. Just try to do something that you have a meaningful life, and that's really priceless.
I want to say that disruptive technology, anything that people can really use. If you're going to create something, make it useful. This is the thing that creates, you're calling it a unicorn. This is what I think they refer to as disruptive technology. And the reason why it's disruptive is because the old patterns of the way we used to think, people need this and will use it. So think about being a service to people, and what you can provide that is providing a service, giving something to people that they need, as opposed to what you're going to get in return. Here we go.
I totally agree, and I think the best way to contribute to that, in my opinion, is through programming skills. Personally, I encourage everyone who is not happy with his profession or for any reason to become a programmer because you will enjoy it. If you don't like your current profession, try programming, you will enjoy it. And in my opinion, you can enjoy your job even if you are not passionate about it. So, and regarding the base salary, in my opinion, it depends on the country. In France, people got used to it, so they enjoy it. So I think countries where people are not used to it, maybe they will think they won't do it. But if you transfer them in an environment where people they enjoy social benefits, they will quit their job and enjoy the social benefits. In France, for example, if you are a French citizen, you are not allowed to be a homeless person because there are social accommodation for everyone. If you are a French citizen, you can enjoy. So there are plenty of options. It depends on the country, I think.
Are you more promoting France or programming? Because I was just a little bit in the end. Like...
I'm promoting the fact that we have several options.
We can choose.
Exactly, depending on the country.
That brings communism to mind. I've heard like stories about in the old days when they used to say, well, just as long as I get my 500 zloty, I'll do a little work or maybe I won't, and it didn't matter. This reminds me there's a comparison to be made there. What do you have to say?
Yeah, hi. Like I remember we're talking a lot about stupid people, right? And actually, my opinion is actually technology makes us a lot more stupid, and it's expected to increase in 10 years. I started to use technology a lot less in my leisure time as a developer, and I feel like I'm regaining some of my brain cells. And I think it's quite a heavy feat, to look in the forward section. And with ChatGPT and overall, teachers are even struggling how to make children read and so on. It on long term, it's quite disintegrating our society in general.
I remember you now. Yeah, you
So-
you gave a talk a couple of months ago. I remember that conversation.
Just
you have a response?
I think it's you made a point. There are people who are creating technology who hold the power, and people who who are recipients of the end product, which probably I know that you probably talk about social media or certain games or certain video content that doesn't is not educational. So does it mean that entrepreneurs have this extra responsibility? Developers, sorry, and entrepreneurs probably too. Do they have this extra responsibility?
Wait, the question, it was about
Responsibility. Do you think do you guys raise your hands if you feel like leaders who have responsibility? Bravo. That's quite a lot. Okay.
Yeah, in general, I don't know how to face the issue. Like, obviously, like it's as well about getting higher like salary and stuff. And as a developer as well, I don't really assume what I'm making is anything useful for the universe in general. And I think it applies for most developers. Usually, we're just milking and recreating some things that are already out there. I think, I don't know if you know, the only good thing, in my opinion, happened this year is nuclear fusion. That was actually the only good thing, I think. ChatGPT, I think it's as well disrupting. It has a lot of solutions. I use it as well at work, but it has as well like implications of people being more impulsive and finding fast solutions, not reading books, that are actually quite beneficial for being patient and stuff.
But if you don't mind, as much as what you say is pretty much mainstream, and I'm not going to be Joe Rogan here, but I genuinely don't think technology is making us stupid. Like, if you take a look at like Library of Alexandria, I mean, I already have it in my phone, and I'm not a king who basically just give people to all around the world just to bring all of their best books to my place. I would not be able to get a 2,000-page book, like under my, like a belt, and then try to be on a horse, and then try to go back to my work just to try to just be the smartest person. The fact that I have the proper use of technology, I think is good.
Yeah, but I think there was a tweet saying, "Oh, I believe that giving everybody information available at their hand would make them, smarter." And that person says, "I was so much wrong," right? So it's about what you start with, and then when you choose your sources, right? What you like, you have to be educated enough to, as you were saying before, like to during your leisure time, not to use that much technology, or spend your time doing something else.
I agree with
I don't think that the primary usage of internet is the Alexandria library.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you, but I also can maybe connect something with the quality of life in France. I also really like the fact that when you are not bounded by a lot of, let's just call it, basics of your life, then you started to become more and more altruistic, and you become, let's just say, more aware of what you're doing, right? So if let's just say, if I don't have to memorize everything, but rather my phone would show me those things, then I think of what more profound things I can say. But if I don't have the technology, then I have to have calculus, then I have to have Mendeleev table, and then I am not going to really do what I really want to do with my life. That's the main part for me.
And that's because you're a creator. That's how you're made. Not everyone is going to have the same reaction. Some people really will use technology and just.
But on top of that,
as
I'm
an
also a
excuse to be
mentor.
lazy.
So if anybody would need, I mean, some of you guys know me. Like, I don't say no to people, and that's also the point that I genuinely think nobody can do everything by themselves. I mean, way more than me. I mean, you're running the whole mentorship program by yourself, and that is the point that sometimes when you see that I have the mindset, but I don't have all of those intelligent people around me, then I create this hub to bring all of those intelligentsia around myself, and then try to see how I can nourish them.
Yeah, I think this think about the technology making people, stupid is not about people, here and probably in the, in this bubble.
I think that there are many aspects to technology, and probably there are some forms of technology that we shouldn't be using at all, and that are making us worse or stupid or are harmful to us. But for example, in technologies like AI, that was the topic of one of the talks, I think that if anything, it mostly reveals our own weaknesses, and the problem lies within humans, not within machines. For example, some artists are angry and feel entitled to their earnings, to the jobs that they have. Or some people are offended and angry at the words that are spewed out by the robot. Or some other people feel very unsafe, especially people in nice cabinets, because people, every average Joe, could like ask AI how to make a Molotov cocktail. So I think that these are all human issues, not AI issues.
No, I totally agree. And not to step on anybody's toes, but I didn't even like the word AI. Because first of all, what is artificial? I have this good friend, Tony. He is a primatologist. And I love talking to Tony. Like, are we talking? And I was like, so what do you think is going to happen if you bring a chimpanzee as a leadership, you know, as a president of a country? And with such a confidence, he explains how many wars we're going to have and how genders are going to treat each other, and, you know, like what is going to be the hierarchy, because he knows, because deep down, us as humans versus machines, we're one of the species that are on this planet, you know? Why like artificial general intelligence, even that's almost what I understand. But when you say artificial intelligence versus us, and I was like, just wait for the GPT-4 to come, and then you will just have this sense of, then it's just intelligence and non-intelligence, you know?
I agree.
And if you go in that part, you know what is the funny part? Then we're going to be the non-intelligence one. Then we're not going to have a human intelligence. And then AI would just come back and it was like, we have intelligence and non-intelligence, the one with the meat. And that's the part that we really have to understand. Then what is my value here?
Can I just make a comment, Maria? I know you're amazing that you're in the position that you are in, and also raising 2 children. So I just want to say that. Do all of you guys who do the work that you do you understand that this technology that we are manifesting in the world is actually a manifestation of how our minds work? We're actually projecting ourselves outward. It's not an independent thing, which is artificial. That's my view. Does anyone agree with that? A few people? Quite a few? Yeah, that's what's happening. This intelligence, or the way that it gathers information, is the same way that we would if we were able to be 50 people in 50 places at the same time. We're literally replicating our mental processes and the design of our mind in the external world. And thank God you know how to do that, because I could never do it. However, that's how I perceive the technology in general, and especially this artificial intelligence. So I just thank you for saying that, because I agreed with you. Someone else?
If you don't mind, I'm just going to, as long as we don't have that much questions, because you mentioned the bubble part, and I think that's also a huge problem. If any of you guys can have an answer to that, or we can just even try to talk about it maybe first by ourselves. How would you get out of your bubble?
Well, apparently you try to first, if you want to get, you know, very extreme opinions, first, like easiest from this armchair, you go to a social media, one of the social media, and you try to, you know, get involved in the places that you haven't visited before. So that's from the armchair here right now.
I genuinely have friends that if I talk about a startup with them, they will punch me in the face. You know what I mean? And I love them, because then they put me down in my place. If I talk about my RORs versus KPIs in the OKRs, in the AML, and in the ML, and I was like, dude, chill. Like, what are you talking about? How is your day going? You know, and that's the way that I kind of try to stay human. Because on deep down, when we just are in like, oh, you know what, I'm not even going to talk to you because you do like open source and I'm into that part, you know, it's just like, or like, I'm not going to talk to you because you work for the competition. Some of us have such a small bubble that we're only going to be fine if you're never going to burst that part. And I love what you said about the living in a bubble, because to some extent, bubble is that comfort that we all have. And it's so hard to, you know, just poke in it and burst it.
I believe that you have people, you know, people around you with whom you don't agree, but I guess still those are people from kind of, you know, the similar background, people working in similar industries or on a similar level, you know, there's, you know, I believe that you don't, you know, maybe you talk to your neighbors from time to time, and maybe, you know, this is more random, right? People who live at your building, but probably even not, because you live in a neighborhood that you chose and you like, and it's, you have money to pay the rent at that particular place. So I wouldn't say that the fact that you don't
mentioned
agree
my
with
rent, and I'm thinking about inflation, so I'm not sure if I have the money right now. But go for it.
I guess now we're in Prague. That used to be like not the fanciest neighborhood, but it's getting fancy at the moment. So
Thanks to Google also. So,
yes, people who live around and they thank Google for
I mean, when they started doing this, that was a huge move. I mean, like bringing Google in the middle of the right side of the river, and
and we have an expat saying it.
I mean,
it turned out to be the right side. Actually, the correct.
I'm here for 11 years, so it's just like, how many of you guys are from Warsaw? Yeah, you see, that's an average that I can see. Even I would say it's above average. It's just like sometimes I walk around place with my.
Did you raise your hand that you're from Warsaw?
I mean, I'm this part still doesn't fit, so it's just like.
Okay, so I'm from Warsaw too.
Oh, we can talk about it so much. Like I was sitting in my office, like I was just trying to go there, and I just said, this guy is just coming, and I was like, hey, we have a meeting, let's go. And we're just like, I'm sorry, but like, I don't know if you know each other. And then he looked at his friend. I was like, oh, sorry. I was looking for somebody from your neighborhood. So I'm still trying to find my neighborhood. I was like, I was just sitting again another time, sitting somewhere. And the guy came back to me. I was like, you really look like the CEO of Microsoft. And I was just like, I mean, I'm not sure if you guys know how the CEO of Microsoft looks like, but I don't look like him. And then he was just again coming back to me. And then he said that, but you're from which part of India? And I was like, I'm from Iran. And then he just scratched his head and left. So it's just like, I don't think anybody would ever. I was in Hungary and I was speaking about fintech in Poland. And the guy came and he said that Polish fintech is one of the global leaders in the banking system, and everything is amazing. And I was the only Polish person there. And then I just went there and I was like, I'm so happy to see somebody is promoting the Polish banking system. And he said that you should be proud of your country. And then I look at him and I was like, this is the only country that ever somebody would call me Polish and call that my country. I would love to have it happen, but let's just say, give me another 20 years and then maybe see what would happen.
Maria and Ahmad, we have about 5 more minutes left. I was just wondering if you would like to make some, final comments or some statements. Are you?
To me.
Would you like another? Can you take another question or?
Is it like?
Yeah, I think we should have a question limit. Yes. So what I think can happen is you need to do this right now.
Is it that important?
This better be a question.
Can you hear no for an answer?
Like a real concise question. Are you ready? Yeah, I'll even give you the big microphone.
Okay, so I will stand during asking this question. So Maria and Ahmed, this is a question to you. Let's wait for them.
Sorry?
So this is a question to you. As we are on the 100th WarsawJS, I know, so Ahmed, I don't know that much, before you came here, I didn't know that much about you, but yes. But I know what Maria is doing, and you were joking a little bit at the beginning, but I know that you are in touch with 4-3. I thought you were going to sing Eminem without me. I know that I assume both of you have experience with entrepreneur people, but also like you are here, so you are also trying to stay in touch with tech people. And my question to you is, as we are on the 100 WarsawJS Meetup, what do you think, who benefits more on WarsawJS presence in Warsaw, in this right part in quotes? And are those programmers, or are those people entrepreneurs who benefit from programmers? For example, this is my inspiration for you. Who benefits more? Programmers that we are exchanging knowledge here, like you have seen here, or entrepreneurs who can benefit from the fact that their employees are exchanging knowledge? Thank you very much.
Woo! Thank you. Wow. I was expecting, something like, I don't know, connected with the 100th birthday and stuff. But, it's my first time here on this JS Warsaw. So I would probably ask other people, we could ask people, hey, who do on the scale 1 to 5, who does benefit more? But I believe like nobody would be here, like the developers, you wouldn't guys be here if you didn't see value in those meetings, right? In the exchange of ideas, the knowledge exchange and all that. Does anybody have a boss who tells him, hey, go to that WarsawJS meeting?
Because Piotr asked us to do.
Okay, there are some, a couple of people. Are those people who raised hands working for Piotr? Everybody? Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
So you see, like nobody is being. Probably everybody benefits from that. I hope.
But Maria, like, no, but that's the
Maybe.
point. No, this is such a wrong question, to be honest with
Not
you.
a zero-sum game, Arthur.
Wait for it. Look, like I remember literally at Google when they wanted to open up the campus, and the whole idea of what really campus wants to do was build an ecosystem. Your question is like when Earth and Sun, like they're just, like are in an ecosystem, which one benefits most? That's the issue. I mean, you're definitely at least talking with two people that they are ecosystem builders. Like, I think if we are doing our job properly, everybody has to benefit equally. Another thing that, again, you do, and I give you two, let's just say, comments. One is not very good and the other one is very good, is the fact that you have to be very more precise. Like you said about the background of me and background of Maria, and that was totally relevant, but then you just say who benefits most. So be more concise. But you are loud enough and you get the microphone, so you benefit more than others because you're louder and you go there and get your right. The rights are not being given, like you have to take it.
And we all suffer, yes.
I mean, that's the second part that we should, that's the second.
No, come on.
No, we need you. But outside of that,
Programmers, do the programmers have the sense of humor?
yeah. No, but outside of that, you have to really believe that we are an ecosystem, and you really have to believe that everything that is happening to some extent is affecting somebody else in that part. And that is the point, that by having an ecosystem, hopefully all of us are just going to enjoy it the same way, and we're going to just benefit it the same way.
Maria? Bravo. Maria?
Okay, I think it's the time for to wrap up.
But can we do it?
No, there's no but. I just wanted to, if there would be like 3 takeaways from this chat. I mean, for everybody, probably there are different things. So think about it in your head. What would be the 3 new things that you thought, okay, that would be useful for yourself in the future? If you want to share.
New things, did you say?
Yeah, something that maybe not new, but something that someone gave you a new perspective on. We're not
I like the last part where you said to understand that everything is interconnected and that, in other words, there's no winners and losers, that everything feeds everything else, and we're an ecosystem. And if we think this way, we communicate more clearly and we're more specific, and we understand that there's value in everything. That's what I really liked. I really appreciated that part. Who else took something away from this that they want to share? Oh, come on. I know you got
I love that we
something out
didn't
of
teach
this.
anybody anything. It's just
I like that part very much. Oh, here we have another one.
It's enjoyable.
Maybe that, I'm not sure if it was actually mentioned, but maybe that entrepreneurs and programmers have a lot in common, that they both are professions that solve problems, and really humility pays off, and also not being entangled in some, let's call it BS, also is beneficial for both professions. They are both really grounded, and that's why they can find common language and talk about both of those fields and communicate. And many of those problems and solutions or types of solutions that they have will be maybe even similar.
Thank you. I just want to say 2 things. And maybe the second one is going to be for mainly for both of us. Like, I really like this quote that they say, like, I never close a book before I will understand something out of that. And I also really want to say thank you, guys, because it's like, even though we're apparently on the stage, but I really learned something. So because you guys didn't say that part, so I thought I'm going to say it on my side. And
I'm impressed with the participation and your questions, and you really gave us a lot of insight.
And wink, wink, diversity. I mean, mainly in the line of thoughts, but guys, try to do something that the next time we're going to come here, we're just going to at least have 50% girls. So we will see, like what we can do out of that with Piotr. But I also really want to say thank you for putting all of this together. However, this is your...
Bravo, bravo,
Yes.
bravo.
So from what I understood, this is your 100th birthday, and this is also the 100th times that Piotr organizes his event. So
Wait a minute, I was
wondering-
only kidding about the 100. Okay, anyway.
I'm going somewhere with that. So I was wondering, as long as also this is almost 9 o'clock, and this is, you know, it's a time that usually people go party, you know, in people outside of that. At least I just want to see how many of you guys know how to sing happy birthday here. And then we're just gonna you know, like bring the birthday boys.
Może być 100 lat?
Yes.
No, wszyscy wiedzą. Umiecie, tak? Śpiewać 100 lat. Gotowi
Yeah.
jesteśmy? Mi,
So-
mi, 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 mi. 100 lat, 100 lat, niech żyje, żyje nam. 100 lat, 100 lat, niech żyje, żyje nam. Jeszcze raz, niech żyje, żyje nam. Louder! Niech żyje nam. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for participation. Thank you for your enthusiasm. And I hope you're going to join us on the party. We're going to Chmury to 11 listopada 22. After the pizza and the networking, and also a surprise. We have also a surprise for tonight. So we're still staying here. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys. It was a great song.
Thank you.
Ahmed and Marie. Maria, give them a big hand. Give them a welcome applause. Actually, stand up, everybody. Come on, let's go. You're going to leave anyway. Stand up. Give them an applause. This is 100 meetings, and this is the first time we tried this kind of discussion. I'm surprised that people had anything to say at all, because you guys, you know, you're not the most outwardly expressive types usually.
No, we
So
left them speechless.
I
That
was
the
very,
point.
very impressed with that, and I really hope you enjoyed that half as much as I did. Once more for Ahmed and Maria. Give them a hand. Thank you so much.